Hi guys, in this video I'm going to show you how you can create a chatbot with Azure AI services. The use case that we want to implement here is we have a PDF file which is a FAQ for our website, and we want to have a chatbot to answer to users' questions by using this PDF file as the main data source basically. As you can see in the diagram, we're going to put that PDF file in a blob storage, and then we use Azure OpenAI services to respond to the user's questions from that file. Uh, this is the PDF file that I'm going to use in this video. It is a FAQ for National Engineering Register, or NER, but obviously it doesn't matter. You can use any PDF which has some content in it. Let's get started. For demo, I'll create another resource group. So if I click on create button in resource groups section, you select the subscription that you've created, you give it a name. So I say RG for resource group, and then AI, and then dev. When you want to create your resource group, use Australia East because I already created a resource group and an OpenAI service in Australia East. And there is a limitation for the number of OpenAI resources in each resource group and each region. I create this one in East US, so I can just create a new one. But when you want to create that, create in Australia East. So we go to the review and create and click on create. Gets created. Then we go to that resource group and start creating our resources. Click on create button on top left. And the first thing that we need to create is a storage account. A storage account is a place that you can store different data there. So we need that to store the PDF file. So I search for storage account. Select this one. So in the first screen, we need to just put in a name for that storage account. So I'm going to just give it a name like this one, SD for a storage account, and then OpenAI files, and then dev for the environment that we are creating this storage account for. Region is East US. In your case, it might be Australia East. And for the performance, choose the standard one. For redundancy, choose local redundant storage. So it's the setting that you need here. And just click on review plus create button. We don't need to do any specific setup for the other tabs that we've got here on top. We accept all the default values and just tap on create. The deployment is in progress to create that storage account for us. Give it a little bit of time. Deployment is complete now. Can click on go to resource. So it goes straight away to the storage account that's been created. We go to storage browser, and in blob container, we click add container and create a container here. Container is like a folder. So We name it NER FAQ and we create that. Then go inside that container or folder, click on upload, and we upload the NER FAQ PDF file here. So if I go to put that PDF here and can upload. File is uploaded here in this storage account. So we've got that available on the cloud, and we can just use that in OpenAI service in next steps. We go back to the resource group that we created earlier in here. We need to create another resource called search service. Search service. Azure AI search. That's what we are after. You need to provide a name for that. So you can use whatever you want, but the naming convention that I follow is I use EA for Australia and then AI search, which is the name of this service. And then at the end, the environment name, we assume that it's dev environment. Location, seems that need to create it in East US. Just search for East US. Region disabled due to high demand. Okay, the East US one is disabled because of high demand. So probably we create that in East US too. And the pricing tier for this, you can't use free tier because of its limitation. It doesn't work for RAG, but the basic tier works fine. And it's going to cost you less. So you can use this free credit in more days. So I just go with the basic one and go to review and create. Validation success. So it means that data is validated successfully. Can create deployment is complete. Now we can go to the resource created here. So if you go to that resource in the overview section, there is a button at the very top called import data. So we need to just import our PDF file to this search service. So I click on that. From the drop down, we choose Azure Blob Storage. We give it a name. Use Azure Blob data source. For pricing model, we use the default one. Azure subscription is the default Azure subscription. For connection steering, you click on choose an existing connection. So from the next screen, we choose the storage account that we created in the previous step. So this is the storage account that I created earlier. So I create that one and I choose the container that we created in that, which is containing our PDF file, and then click on select. So as you can see, the connection string is set up here for you. The container name is autofilled as well. That's pretty much everything that we need here. For probably data source name, maybe we use a different data source name. We call it NER FAQ probably. So it's just a name. It doesn't matter what you want to put here. But yeah, just I think this one is a better one. So click on next. First screen data is validated first, and if there is no issue, it goes to the next screen. So in this screen, you can just skip to customize target index. So in this screen, it's asking that your data, which is coming from a PDF file, is stored in what column. This is the data that is coming from the PDF file. And for a PDF file, the content is stored in the content field name. So it's selected by default, so we don't need to change anything in this screen. It's smart enough to understand where the data is coming from and what should be the selection. So we just go to the next screen. Again here, the name is autofilled. You can change it. The schedule means if the file that you've got in that storage account is updated in different intervals, you can just create an interval here to refresh the data in Azure AI search database as well. But in our case, because that PDF file is a static one and it doesn't get updated, so we just use once. But you can create a schedule here. If you create a schedule here, obviously based on that schedule, this process gets repeated automatically to get a new data from the file that is stored in that storage account. So we are ready to submit. Just click on submit. Okay, the data imported successfully. So if we go here to the search management section, in indexes, now we should have a created index. You can see here in indexers, we should have an indexer, and in data source, we should have a data source. Okay, we are pretty much done with the AI search service. We go to the last service that we need to create. So I go back to the resource group again. We need to create Azure OpenAI service now. Click on create Azure OpenAI. Okay, for the region, again, you can choose Australia East. You need to give it a name. Again, I use the same naming convention that I used earlier. EA for Australia, Open AI, and then the environment name, which is dev. For the pricing tier, we use standard S0, and then we click on next. So for this proof of concept purpose, we use the first option in networking. All networks, including the internet, can access this resource. But obviously, for a production version, we need to have a better security around that. But for now, just select the first option. Click next. We don't need to put any tags in. Go to review and submit tab. So just giving you a kind of warning that when you create this resource, it's gonna have cost for you. So you're aware of just that before creating this resource. But obviously, because we are using uh, a free subscription, and not a free subscription, obviously with the credited subscription, it's not gonna charge you. The cost is deducted from the credit that you already have. So we click on create. Okay, deployment is complete. Click go to resource. Takes us straight away to that resource. When we are here from top, we right click and open a new tab because I want to have this resource open as well. So we go to the Azure OpenAI Studio. Here you can just do the configuration and setups required for the OpenAI service. The first thing that we need to do is creating or deploying a LLM. That's the first step. So I go to, for example, chat in the playground section or any other category. We can see that different options available here, but they are all disabled because we need to deploy a LLM first. So if I go to home and here you go, deployment. Click on deploy model, deploy a base model. And this is a different type of LLM available here. Each of those suitable for different use cases. And there is a explanation below each of those model name. The model that we want to use here is GPT-4o, which is for a chat completion, as you can see. And we click on confirm. We need to just provide the name for that. I'm going to just leave it as is, GPT-4o. The deployment type, we'll leave it as global standard. And we click on deploy. Okay, here it is. The deployment is complete, and the model, the GPT-4o model, is deployed now. Now, if we go back here in Playground, Playground is a place that you can just test your solution. Obviously, if you create something here or configure something here, as soon as you leave this screen and close your browser tab, If you come back here, it's gone. It doesn't get saved. It's just for testing your configuration. So this is the same um, tool that is used for testing the AI configurations in the OpenAI Studio. So I'm gonna go to the chat section, and as you can see, the deployment that we've done is here in this drop-down list. If you have multiple deployment, you can choose a different model, but in our case, it's only one. You need to just provide a system message for the AI. System message means what is the AI agent role? So we give it a role, and based on that role, it does understand what kind of question should be answered. And if people are going out of that boundary, it just doesn't respond to those. So it's very important to write this system message properly. So what I'm gonna do is just copy and paste the message that I've written earlier. So if we want to have this system message for any chat bot, you are an AI assistant that helps people find information about how to apply for registration on the NER, a National Engineering Register. So this is the role that our chatbot should play. When you put this here, we need to just save changes. Click on save, and it's giving you a warning that every time that you make a change here and saving a stuff, and the chat is gonna get restarted, which is fine. So this change saved. Now we go to add your data section to add our search service that we created earlier. So click on add a data source. From select data source section, we choose Azure AI search. There is other option available as well. The subscription that we've created is auto-filled here because I have only one subscription here. The Azure AI search service that I created earlier is this one. I choose that. And then this drop-down is populated with the available index name. The index got created after importing data. So it's available here. And then click on next. In the search type, we have two different search types, semantic and keyword. Semantic is a more complex way of searching prompts in the database, but it's not available for the basic tier that we are using. So we use keyword one. It means that uses keywords for matching the prompts in the database for finding the result, which is good enough for our proof of concept. Go to the next screen. For connection between these services, it's asking if you want to use API key or system assigned managed identity. Again, for a production version, probably system assigned is the better solution, but in POC, we just use API key. Before going to the next screen, we need to go back here to the Azure portal and grant two required permission for our OpenAI service. So if I go back to resource group again, the OpenAI resource needs to talk to search service. So it's using the search service to do the search. For this purpose, we need to grant permission to the OpenAI service on the search service. So for this, we go to the search service resource, we go to the access control, we go to role assignment, we need to grant two different access for the OpenAI service here. So we click on add role assignment. We search for the role that we are after. The role is search index data reader. This one. Click on that and click next. It says assign access to, we want to assign it to a managed identity. So we need to assign it to the OpenAI search service. Okay, so we need to just create a managed identity for that first, and then we come back to this screen. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just go back to resource group again. In OpenAI dev, search for identity. As you can see, the system assigned identity is off, so we need to turn it on for the OpenAI service. And click on save. By doing this, a system assigned identity is created for this OpenAI service, and then we can just grant permission and give access to this created identity on the search service. So we are done here. We go back to search service again, and in access control, add role assignment. We search here for search index data reader. Click on next. It's manage identity. Select member. Now we have two manage identity for Azure OpenAI. So the dev one is what we are after. So I select that and then click on select. So it comes up here in the list of members. Go to review and assign. Search data, search index data reader is assigned to OpenAI service. This is what we want to do. So review and assign. We wait for the assignment to be completed. We need to add another role. We search for search service contributor. Search service contributor, this one. Click next, manage identity, select member, Azure OpenAI, and the dev one. Select, review and assign. So we are assigning search service contributor to this resource, which is exactly what we want to. Review and assign. Okay, the role assignment is done. So if we go to this tab, role assignments, should be able to see that in search service resource. OpenAI resource got search index data reader and search service contributor role. So this is the permission that is required. Go back to the playground, and in this screen, we choose API key, click on next. Validated our connection, permissions, everything, and then if everything is fine, it goes to the next screen, which is save and close. So you click on save and close, and you see that your data source been added here. As I said, if you go back to the, if you close this browser tab and you come back here, it's all gone. You need to do the same steps again because that's the playground. It's just for testing your solution. The proper way of calling this AI chatbot API is embedding that API in your client application. So it might be a web application, it might be a desktop application or a mobile application that can use the API to interact with this chatbot. Okay, so now if we try to test that, so if I just say hi, we see this error message, which is complaining about the rate limit is exceeded. Try again in 10 seconds. So this error message is happening when you are passing the rate limit, you are exceeding the rate limit. To fix this issue, you need to request for an increase in quota, in service quota from Microsoft. To do that, you need to go to the quota section here under shared resources. It takes a little bit of time to load everything. Then we go to Azure OpenAI Global Standard here. And if you look at here, the model that we deployed, GPT-4o, the usage is 100%, 101. So we need to just request for increasing this limit. So if you click on this icon here, you can request quota. So by default, it's got a very small quota. It's 100 token per minute, which is not enough when you add your PDF file on top of the LLM. That's the reason that we are getting that error message. So if you click on this, it opens up a data entry form. So just put in your information here, your first name, last name, company, and in the quota request type, you just select global standard, and then you select the region that you've created your resource there. So if you created them in Australia East, you select Australia East here, and the model that you deployed, to select your model. So just populate it here in the dropdown. And then here you request for 400. And you click on submit. So this request goes to Microsoft. It takes 1 or 2 business days to get processed. Once it's done, you receive an email that your process is completed. And when you get that email, you can come back here to the OpenAI Studio. You come to the shared resource section in deployments. Click on edit. As you can see, the maximum number that is allowed at the moment is 1K, and this is the main cause of the problem and the error message that we are seeing in the chat playground. When your increase request is approved, you can just increase that to 400. So you've got 400 available here. So you just move this slider bar to be 400, and you save and close, and then you go back to the playground, and you can get rid of that error message. So obviously, it's not possible to do that now because it takes time for that request to be approved by Microsoft. But I've done that earlier in a different resource group. And I'm going to just show you how it works from there. So I've set up the same set of resources here in the test resource group. And if I go to that OpenAI Studio chat, yeah, okay. So let me show you in my LLM. As you can see, the token per minute rate limit is set to 400. But as I said earlier, it's available only after approving your request. So you can just play with this slider bar and put it on 400. And 400 works for our PDF file. Once this is done, now if I put a message here, hi, we get a response back from the AI agent. And as you can see, it's insisting that are you looking for information on how to apply for NER? So it means that it's only helpful in that area. So I'm going to ask a few questions. So I start with this one. What information about me will be disclosed after registration? So if I click enter, comes up with a response. A given name, surname, etc. are disclosed, and there is a citation for each of those responses. So if I click here on the 3 references, it's telling you that this data is coming from which part of the document that we've added to LLM. So if I click on that, it's bringing up the first page of the documentation, that including some of the data that is in this response. Second citation is from page 2. Third one is again from page 2. And lastly, I want to show you if we ask an irrelevant question, something like this. Do you know when is the foodie grand final date and time? Put that in and see what kind of response we want to get. As you can see, it says that the requested information is not available in the retrieved data. Please try another query or topic. If you have any other questions or need assistance with NER, feel free to ask. So it's just limited to a specific domain. It answers those questions only. That's pretty much this. Thanks for watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you would like to watch more of these videos. See you soon.